All right, so now that's 9377 for the code for today. All right. Okay, so when we go ahead and go into the today's content, you go and hit start here. Stop, man. All right, so schedule of activities. Always follow the schedule of activities, right? So today is the 12th, right? So we're going to be covering this today, along with we're going to be covering this. Now, here's the thing: is that 1, 2, and 1, 4? That's this week's objectives for you guys to go through. So I'm going to only have to cover 1, 2 today. All right, that's my objective today, is to get through 1, 2. Then on Thursday when we get together, it's 1, 4. So it's pretty easy. But that's this week's objectives, is to get through these 2 lessons here. All right, so let's take a look at 1, 2. Now, I've said to you guys that I'll be using the book at times, and I always like to come back to it, just so you guys can see what that's about. All right, so I'm utilizing some of the features of this. Okay, let me showcase that. All right, now it says, do you have anything to add? All right. Now, when we're talking about do you have anything to add, it's basically adding like terms. All right. Now, the objective says identifying circumstances where addition and subtraction is possible. So it's adding and subtracting like quantities. Okay. So when we think about this, all right, we do this regularly. All right. We do this regularly, that we go ahead and add things like, I don't know, let's say calories. Now, when we are trying to watch our weight, I mean, isn't that a plague? It seems like, watching weight, it's always a common thing, especially during the new year. Brand new year, people always are watching their weight. And so they kind of watch out things like for calories and number of calories, and then the fat intake. You've got to be careful with the fat, and like saturated fats are no good for you. Trans fats especially not good for you. So anyway, there's certain fats that are not good for you, right? So anyway, they talk about adding like quantities together. All right, here's an example of adding like quantities. 12 grams of cholesterol and then 5 grams of cholesterol. Both of them being cholesterol, we can add them together, right? And these are called like quantities. So when you have 12 plus 5, we understand that to be 17. Now, calculator, all right? If you look at the calculator, all right? We could go ahead and deal with fractions with calculators, all right? So here we have 3 over 11 added to 7 over 11. Look how easy that is to use a calculator. Now, there are times, all right, that you can't add things together. For example, 10 grams of sodium added to 17 grams of carbs. Those are not like quantities. All right, so you can't add them together. So we just avoid adding them together. Now, there is sometimes when you have like something like this, all right, that where we have to go ahead and consider feet or yards. All right. So this is an interesting concept of now converting between the systems. Now, Tom has joined us, and I've mentioned that he was joining us, so I'm going to go ahead and take a small break from the lecture, all right? And we'll pick up on that in the discussion of adding and subtracting to debits and credits, all right? We all love finances, don't we? And I'll talk a little bit about finances in just a second. All right, so Tom, I'm going to make you a moderator, and I did introduce them a little bit to the concept of the ASC lab. Let me stop sharing this for a second. And you can, since I'm already on here, I'm going to go ahead and have you walk them through the ASC lab. Just let me know where you want me to click.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Professor Demery, for having me. Hello, everybody. I'm Tom Lewis with the ASC. And I just wanted to come by to let you guys know that there are resources available for you guys, both in person and virtually, to assist you with your math class, your English classes, if you're taking any science classes, science. And that's all found on our ASC website, which Professor Demery currently has up, and that's in your Blackboard shells. So the in-person tutoring that we now have available this semester, we have study space available, so you can come in, sit down, work on your homework, quizzes, things like that here in the ASC and the libraries, or you can visit with a tutor. You can do that without an appointment, but it is preferred you make an appointment to guarantee you time with that tutor. So you would just click on that click here to book that appointment, and it will take you to the website where you would do that. It's ask for your student name, student ID, that whole thing. If you scroll down just a little bit, the other option we have for tutoring is the virtual tutoring. And that tutoring is available from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. for you guys. All the tutors that are there can help you out with quantitative reasoning, and they'd be happy to assist you. So they're really looking forward to seeing you guys this semester. In addition to that, what happens when you click on the schedule there, the link takes you to a Blackboard Collaborate room, which is much like what we're using here. The only difference is our tutors will move you into side rooms or breakout rooms so that you have privacy to work with them. If the tutor is not in your room with you, you have complete privacy, whether or not you have your mic on or not. So what I encourage you guys to do is while you're working on your homework, if you're someone who needs a little extra assistance, or just kind of want to be in the zone of working on math, click on our virtual link, go to the classroom, let the tutor know, hey, I'm working on my homework, I'm working on my quiz, whatever it is, your Alex homework, and then just say, I don't have any questions yet, but I might. And they'll know. A lot of students do this. They'll be fine with that. They're going to move you into a side room, and you can just simply raise your hand, like we do right here, so that you can, so you guys can get help, or you can just send them a chat or something like that as well, and they'll be right over to assist you. So I highly encourage you guys to take advantage of that and to do that. A tutor is just a click of a button away if you do need any help or explanation on something. So the other thing I guess I can hit on real quick, when they work with you, they're going to get your student ID number, and that student ID number is going to go into a system called TutorTrack, and Professor Demery is going to have the ability to look you guys up and see if you guys have been utilizing the virtual ASC or the in-person ASC. So, that definitely comes in handy towards the end of the semester. We also have, like I said, science tutoring. I think another big one I like to hit on with you guys is the English, because a lot of you guys may be taking a student success course, English Composition 1 course. And we also have virtual tutoring available for English, and we also have the face-to-face tutors. And if you click on that Ask Us, that is a paper drop-off service. Doesn't matter if you guys are writing like a small paragraph for like a discussion board, or if you guys are doing a thesis, it doesn't really matter. So if you guys drop that off, the English tutors are going to provide feedback on that paper within 24 to 48 hours. All you have to do is just give your student ID, your name, and upload the assignment that you're working on, and they'll email you back as soon as they can. Sometimes it takes a few hours, sometimes it takes a day, but they'll get back to you with some feedback. So that kind of encompasses all of our services that we can offer. I really hope some of you guys take advantage of this. The ASC has been shown time and time again to get students who are right there on the cusp of not passing, to get them to the point where you guys are on the right track and being proficient, and not only that, but excelling. And good study habits and all that good stuff. So highly encourage you guys to come by. Look forward to seeing you guys come by.
As always, Tom, thank you so much for coming in. I do hope that everybody takes advantage of this, as Tom indicated, by putting your name and giving your name to the tutor, I will be supporting you through extra credit. I do want to encourage you, like Tom was pointing out, that the English paper services for that, what they do. I could not imagine when I was going to school not having this, but I did, because I didn't have this kind of stuff available to me. I mean, I would love if I had this, because I was weak in English. So having something like this would have been phenomenal for me. But I mean, all the services that the ASC lab, I was telling my other class that you would have to pay $40 to $45 an hour to get this kind of level of support easily. All right, that's on the cheap end. And it's just something to take advantage of. I mean, it's all these resources that the college is putting forth. They're putting all this energy into providing service like this. It is almost actually my duty to make sure I bring in Tom to explain these things to you so you can utilize them, because it's otherwise wasted resources. So please take advantage of the ASC lab. And again, thank you so much, Tom, for coming in.
Thank you, Professor Demery. See you.
Absolutely. All right, take care. All right, so that being said, I'm going to go ahead and continue with the conversation. Like when it comes down to adding things and subtracting things that are like, we talk about finances and how important it is that we deal with finances in an appropriate way. Now, I personally am able to manage my finances pretty well. When I was a young kid, I was always told by my father that I was stupid, right? So that really I took offense to this. I mean, I didn't like he was old school. I mean, he didn't have the upbringing that was nurturing. He has a lot of rough edges, right? So when I was a kid, because I believed my dad, and because he's an authoritative figure. I mean, he was important. He was my father. He's supposed to be somebody of a significant value to me, right? I couldn't believe that I could amount to anything. I mean, I believed that I wasn't going to go to college. My dad never did. I was a first generational college student. So I believed that it was through my hard work that I had to give that it was going to make any difference, right? It was going to be something that was going to bring me what I needed to be able to survive. So I went ahead and started mowing grass when I was 10 years old. I started mowing grass. I started shoveling snow in the winter times, raking leaves in the fall. I did a lot of work on my own hands, by my own hands. So every single time from 10 to 15, I did all this, right? I saved myself at least $500 to $600 easy, from that time. I mean, and that's after spending some of the money. Right? I did spend some of the money, but I always made an intention to save money. And so it's like credits, right? I didn't have any debits because I didn't have any rent because my father was paying for my housing, right? Utilities, again, my father. Groceries I didn't have to pay for. Clothes I didn't care for too much. I probably spent a little bit, but I did spend a little bit of money on clothes. But I always have this conversation with people that you have to be what's known as frugal with your money. Money makes money when you really take it seriously. Like when you are considering what it is that you're buying. There's a lot of times when we buy things because we want to buy them, not because we need to buy them. There's a big difference between those two concepts of need and want. Now you need to have a shelter over your head, right? You gotta be protected from the elements, or otherwise you can get your immunity compromised. You can get like sick all the time because of the fact that you're exposed to the elements, and you can get infections because you're around dirty places. things like that. So there's a need to have shelter. So you have to budget a certain amount of your income, what you're taking in. You have to budget that to that absolute need. You absolutely need to eat. Now, do you need to eat out? Absolutely not. I mean, can you survive on, frozen peas and ramen noodles? Perhaps. Will you be still the most healthy at that time? No. I mean, like you talk about needing protein and stuff like that. So you try to diversify your diet so it can provide you the ability to have strength. And so there's a lot of things that you have to consider when it comes to your finances. Now, you are getting an education to provide for your future, because the education that you receive, all right, normally shapes your perspective and gives you clarification and gives you ideas mentally to be able to combat against the world's problems, because there are lots and lots of problems, right? We have to be able to cognitively process information coming in. So you guys are spending a lot of your hard-earned money to shape that perspective, to gain world experiences and to shape your ideas of how to approach it. Now, when you're taking an interview, right, you're going to be asked certain questions. And it's through your articulation of the experiences you've had during these processes, during these classes that you're taking, that you're able to have a voice. Now, perhaps having this conversation right here could jog some kind of a thought, instill some kind of an approach to how you would process finances. Another really strong class to have is economics. That's domestic gross product and all the ins and outs and managing of finances, basically. Our country, for example, is spiraling out of control with debt, right? We have a significant amount of debt because of the mismanagement of funds. Our government is horrendous at controlling the budget, right? That's why we're trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. There's no control over the expenditures. We need to really have some solid people in there who know how to control finances, but we don't. I mean, and it seems to be an ongoing battle that I don't understand how to get. I wouldn't understand how to get ourselves out of it unless we cut a lot of programs. All right, a lot of programs that help people, but it's still programs that we need to do. I mean, we need to cut programs in order to get ourselves out of debt. So we talk about credits and debits. Credits being income coming in, debits being things that go out. All right, money paid out, money deposited or brought in. All right, so we go ahead and think about our budget and how to manage our income, so we do not fall in incredible amount of debt into like credit cards that are paying 22% interest. All right, credit cards are the downfall to many people's budgets because they spend money they don't have. That is a serious plague and a mental disorder that people have when it comes down to spending money. They want. They don't need, but then they get out of control, and then we have, again, continuing problems that we have today in society. So people fall into bankruptcy, then they ruin their credit, and then people don't want to give them credit without having to overcharge them because people are being irresponsible with money. It goes on and on. Now, in class, typically in class, I would have breakout sessions on this or conversations from the student's perspective on what are some of the solutions that you would derive in order to combat against this ongoing problem. Is it through education? Is it through, being an active voice? I mean, what can we do to support students to be able to be physically responsible? And that's a great conversation to have, but perhaps maybe not so much when we're just together here having this light conversation. So anyway, we talk about adding, all right, and subtracting of sign integers. Debits, all right, go down, credits go up, so you have negative and positive values, all right? And that's why this is all related, all right? And then we talk about adding is commutative. The order of which you add doesn't matter. Subtraction is not commutative. The order does matter, because if you think about adding a -3 to a +4, all right, that's a little different, all right, than when we're talking about something like -3 added to -4. So it's different for the subtraction. You can't do 4 minus 3 and then 3 minus 4 and get the same answer. That's what they're talking about. So we look at this from the perspective of representing addition and subtraction. All right. Addition, you plus is added to, and addition, sum, increased by. These are just other words and phrases that means this, the same thing. Subtraction is minus, is decreased by, is taken away from, difference. Those are words that represent the phrase of adding and subtracting. So it's a matter of being able to find, all right, that language. Let's take a look at our assignment from Alex now. All right, let me go to assignments. All right, and then 1, 2. All right, now, like what you saw on the on the book, adding like terms. I mean, kilograms and feet are not like terms, so you can't add them together. Whereas 12 lemons and 9 lemons are like terms, and then 12 minus 9 is 3, and then of course that's 3 lemons. Birds and months are not the same thing. They're not like terms, so we just indicate that they're not like terms. So that's how easy this is. I mean, this is really a simple process, right? So let's take a look at the next one. All right. I think you can go ahead and do this one without me continuing to talk about it. I mean, hours and hours are the same, grams and grams are the same, but birds and bananas are not. Likewise, same thing. If you do need me to go over something else, let me know. I mean, if there's 2 and 3 would have been beneficial to you, just raise your hand or say something, and I'll go ahead and go over it. Now, 3 plus 2, these are the same, by the way, because the x's are the same. If it was an x and a y, they would not be the same. However, they are like terms. So we go ahead and put 5 because 3 plus 2 is 5. We add the coefficients together. Not go ahead and put x squared, by the way. That's a misunderstanding students have. So you just add what we call the leading coefficients, or just simply the coefficients of the variables. All right? So it's a pretty easy concept to think about. like these are the same. So then it's going to be 5 minus 3, right? So then we have 2y. All right, so I'm not going to do another one of those. I mean, those are two, they're significantly easy, but it's worth going over. So I'll let you have this one, this negative. All right. Now, with fractions, all right, you can use your calculators, but I mean, this shouldn't be too difficult when it's the same like terms, all right? Like terms are when your denominators are the same, all right? So we have 6 minus 1 is 5 over 9. So when they're like terms, they're very easy to handle. All you got to do is literally take and put 6 minus 1. But then when you have unlike terms or unlike fractions, it gets a little different, like this. So what you have to do is create like terms. And how to do that is by simply asking yourself, what is the LCD between 2 and 5? Now, here's the thing. You can go ahead and use your calculators to do this. I mean, by all means, but this is asking us to fill in all the pieces. But we could take our calculators and go like this. All right, 1 over 2 minus 2 over 5. Now, I know that's maybe a little small, so I'm going to go ahead and increase that. So here we have this right here, and we go ahead and push enter, and we get that. All right. Now, while I could put that as my answer here, 1 over 10, it is not going to help me answer all the pieces that I need here. So the thing is that what I need to do is think about what can I do to get 2 to 10? So I need to multiply it by 5, right? Because the common denominator is going to be 10. So whatever I multiply, I'm going to write this down because I think it might be beneficial. Let me increase that. All right. See, when I go ahead and think about fractions, and I say I want this to be 10, the common denominator, I want it to be 10, then I would go ahead and multiply this by 5. But what I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. Likewise, in order to get this to be 10, I would multiply this by 2. And whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So therefore, I have 1 times 5 is going to give me 5. And then I have the minus sign. And then 2 times 5 obviously is giving me that 10, which is what I needed. And then 2 times 2 is 4. That's what we're looking for the top 2 numbers of that, which is over there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and understand that I came up with 5 and 4 because whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top. And then 5 minus 4 is 1, which is what they're looking for. All right. So that's a little difficult for some students. So we're going to do it again. So now I have to ask myself, what do I need to multiply 5 and 3 to get the same common denominator? And that would be, I need 15, right? I need 15 in order for this to work. So what I do is I say, well, I need 15 for the LCD of these two numbers. So what do I have to do to get to 15? Well, 5 times 3 is 15. 2 times 3 is 6. And then 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5. And that leaves me with then simply 11 over 15. While that's my answer, I still need these two because they're part of the process that's required for completion of this. So I'm going to put all that in there. So 6 over 15, 5 over 15, and then 11 over 15. So that takes a little bit of practice, okay? So do you need me to go over this again? If you do, raise your hand. If you're comfortable with it, means you're not needing me to go over it. All right? All right. So now we have this concept of balance withdrawals and deposits that's aligning to what we just saw in the textbook. All right. So it's deposits, paycheck. So currently the balance is $135.16. So what we need to do is go ahead, taking our calculators, we do 135.16, and we're going to add to that the 963.12. And then we'll have in our account $1,098.28. Now, refund, that's adding $100. So then that's not too big, too busy. So all I gotta do is put $100 in there. Now I basically take out $98 or $95 for groceries. Then I'm subtracting 95 from 98, and that gives me basically 3. All right, so I'm gonna get 1103.28. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and check my answer. All right, so you can use a calculator to do all of it if you wish, but I think mentally it's possible if you challenge yourself. All right, I'll leave you with that again. So you just have to, whenever it's a withdrawal, you just subtract, and then add. Now, with this right here, you're saying we're converting from, this is fill in the blanks, 108 inches into feet. Well, if you have 12 inches in a foot, right, then what we have to do is take and understand, and I'm going to show you the way to do this from the very beginning, is I put 108 over 1. If I'm converting from inches to feet, I need the inches to be diagonal from the feet. All right. And the fact that I know that there's 12 inches equals 1 foot is the fact that goes along with that. And that's indicated by this right here. Right here. Okay. So the inches have to be diagonal from the inches. This will tell us whether or not to divide or to multiply. If it's diagonal, we divide. All right, DD. Diagonal divide. So I take big number divided by small number. And I get my answer, 9. Now we're looking at 5 yards over 1. Always over 1, by the way. I need the yards to be knocked out. So I'm going to put yards here, and I'm converting it to feet. So that means I got to put feet up on the top. And we know, based off of the information right here, that 1 yard equals 3 feet. When it's horizontal, you multiply. So HM. Horizontal means it's on the same horizontal line. All right? So this is the same horizontal line. Therefore, we multiply, maybe 5 times 3 is 15. So this is 9 feet, as already given to us by the indication here, and this is 15 feet as the yards are knocked out. All right, so pretty awesome setup, and I will be reinforcing this when I describe conversion factors systems when I do that later. But anyway, I'm giving you a strategy that's unbreakable. You can't break that strategy. You won't get confused about when to multiply or divide. That is always the problem with students doing this conversion stuff. They don't know when to multiply, they don't know when to divide. I'm giving you a strategy set when I give you this. As long as you understand that you're keeping your measurements diagonal from each other, that are the same exact measurements, then you're fine, because the other one will just be like kind of like a tail. This is being the head, this being the tail. The tail just follow along with whatever it goes wherever the other one didn't, either being on the top or the bottom. So something to think about, all right? It's worth thinking about. It's pretty simple when thinking about like that too. So I'm going to probably do a couple more of those kind of concepts. A ladder is 78 inches tall. How tall in feet and inches? So the thing is that when we talk about converting this 78 inches over 1, we're going to convert that to feet. We have to think about, well, there's 12 inches in 1 foot. Well, when we divide this out, right, because the inches will cancel out the inches, we're not going to get a clean hit here. Watch. 78 divided by 12 gives us 6.5. Oops, I don't have my thing shown. So I did this, and then I did this. I apologize. I thought my screen was showing my work. All right, so we have this. 78 divided by 12 gives us 6.5. That means we have 6 feet, right? And then what is a half a foot? Well, half a foot is half of 12 inches, which half of 12 inches is 6 inches. So because they're asking us for feet and inches, so it's going to be 6 and 6 inches, not 6 and 5. All right, because you're thinking about half of a foot, so you got to think in terms of that. But we would have otherwise put 6.5 feet, but they're asking for how many inches as well. So the ladder is inches tall. Again, it's a matter of doing something like 68 over 1 times, and then we have again the 12 inches over, and then 1 foot. We're going to go ahead and do 68 divided by 12. We're going to get 5.6 continuous. We know it's going to be 5 feet. What we can do, all right, since we have 5 feet, we know 5 times 12 is 60, right? And if we take 60 away from 68, then that means we have 8 inches left. I mean, is that easy enough to think about? You decide. All right, but please don't put thinking that when you divide it out, so many students think, oh, it's 5.6, meaning then it's 5 feet and 6 inches. And that's completely wrong way of thinking. Some of you might say, well, no, it's not, Mr. D. You can round it off, so it's 5 feet 7 inches. And isn't that close enough to 8 inches? Do I need to really worry about it? You're doing it wrong. You're thinking about it wrong, if that's the way you're thinking. This is 6 tenths of a foot. That's what we're looking at, 6 tenths of a foot, which is 8 inches. All right, it's actually 2/3 of a foot. All right, so something to change your perspective. I should just hit, forgot to hit the check button. All right. Now this right here, the perimeter. All you have to do for this, and believe me, I had this on a final one time for students, but all you have to do is go 13 plus 19 plus 9 plus 14, and then you hit enter, and then there's your answer. It is that simple. Make sure you put the inches in there. All right, there's no rocket science there. You're adding like terms together. So when you have looking for the perimeter, when you have a square, then it's 4 times 26. All right, 4 times 26 gives us 104. Make sure you put the meters in there. All right, this says a banner is the shape of a rectangle. It is 19 feet long and 4 inches or 4 feet wide. Now it wants to know the perimeter. So if you can't figure it out right away, draw yourself a picture. So it's 19 feet long, and we can put the 19 here, and then 4 feet wide. So now you have it drawn. You can go ahead and just do 19 plus 19 plus 4 plus 4. All right, and get 46. There's another way you can do it too. All right, and that is you can go ahead and do 19 times 2 plus 4 times 2. And likewise, you do 26 plus 26 plus 21 plus 21. All right. And for this last one, write your answer in feet and inches. Use a number less than 12 for inches. So we have 3 boards are placed end to end to make a walkway. The first board is 2 feet 9 inches. The second board is 6 feet 10 inches. And the third board is 5 feet 7 inches. So what I do personally is I just add up all my inches together, add up all my feet together. So if I go ahead and do that, I have 2 feet added to 6 feet gives me 8 feet, added to 5 feet, which gives me 13 feet. I just did that mentally. All right. Then I have 10 plus 9 is 19. All right. Added to 7 inches, which gives me 26 inches. I know that 26 inches is 2 feet. So I'm going to add 2 feet to 13 feet, get 15 feet. All right, so I get 15 feet. But then that's 24 inches taken away from 26 inches, gives me 2 inches left. So it's 15 feet, 2 inches. All right, so I look at it that way. All right, it's just knowing your multiplication tables for 12, right? Maybe that intimidated you a little bit, but 24 times or 12 times 2 is 24. Subtract 24 from 26, and that's where you get 2. All right, the 2 inches. And then since that's 2 feet, you're adding 2 feet to 13 feet, which is why you get 15 feet. All right, so maybe that went a little too fast, but it's just simple addition and subtraction, not even subtraction. Well, it is a little bit because I did 24 minus from 26, so there is a little bit of subtraction. But that concludes the lecture from the Alex program, and you're going to have kind of similar questions to this, maybe not identical. I mean, but you're going to bet your, money on it that I'm going to have questions on your test that looks a lot like this. okay? And we'll go over a review that signifies that. So are there any questions for the class? All right, well, if that's the case, then what we're going to make sure we do is complete the lesson 1-2 pi objective. All right. Now, McKinley, that's a good question. Your pi objectives are going to be, if you go into Alex, right? I can't do what you guys do, but when you guys, I should have somebody sign in. McKinley, would you, if I made you a moderator, would you go ahead and sign in and share your screen so I could kind of walk you through a little bit? Would you do that for me? Sure. Okay, great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make you a moderator, or actually a presenter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. And now you can go ahead and share your screen since you're a presenter. So how do you do that? Do you know how to do that, or do you need me to help you do that?
I went to the little 3 lines on the left by Alex, and then it.
Okay, now what I want to do is have you share your screen. So just share your screen for me, and then you can go ahead and talk to me about what you do.
How do I do?
Do you know how to share your screen?
No.
Okay. Now let me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen to you again, and then help you. Now this goes for everybody. If you want to go ahead and present, all right. Now, right now, I'm going to share with you. This is called an echo. Don't worry about it. It's just an echo. But right here, McKinley, it says share.
Okay.
Like, yours is maybe here, maybe
Yeah,
even here. But you go here and it says share. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing now.
So show share application and screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Share application screen. And then pick which screen you're sharing if it's not your primary already. See, I have double screens, so mine's a little different.
I think.
There you go. You got it. And that's called an echo. Not a big deal.
So went to.
Okay. Now, when you go ahead, see the assignments, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
See the assignments? Well, that's where you go if you want to go like to your quizzes and stuff,
Yeah.
right? But go ahead and go back to home. See where it says continue my path?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you continue your path all the time. Like right now it says, see how it says lesson 1-4?
Yeah.
Lesson 1-5? That is the lesson you're on.
Okay.
So you just continue your path, continue my path, continue my path. You're completing your pi objectives. And you're just doing your Alex pi. And by completing your Alex pi, you're completing the homeworks at the same time.
Gotcha. Alrighty.
All right. So that's why I tried telling students the only way to do that is by showing you what others are looking at, what other students are looking at. Okay. All right. So you can go ahead and stop sharing. But that was good. And McKinley, I'm glad you shared that with everybody. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other questions by anybody? All right, you just witnessed that McKinley saw that she's going to be working on 1-4/1-5 when she completes, her pi objectives and course readiness. So make sure that you just be as aggressive as you can and completing your assignment, right? Just continue heavily on that pi objectives. All right. If there's no more questions, then I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And guys, I want you to have a great couple days. I'll see you on Thursday, right? All right, take care, guys.